baseball cool. Like my son played, but I couldn't wait for him to stop playing. That's how I was with baseball. You look at the money and you like, hey man, keep playing. But then you get out there and you out there for 17 hours and 157 degrees and you like, stop playing. Let's go play basketball. Yo, the Swagu Podcast coming at you live after the Dallas Cowboys New York Giants game. What I thought about it? I'm happy the Cowboys won, but I'm not happy at the way that they played. Obviously, the Giants are a team that's trying to find their identity. Dallas is not supposed to be in the struggle. It was so many red zone trips from the New York Giants that ended in field goals, and it just felt like nothing was dominant. Again, outside of the few explosive plays that CeeDee Lamb made, nothing was dominant. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys, we did stop the run for the first time. But is it more indicative of the Giants not being good at running the football, or did we actually improve? That's my hardest thing about this game. Like, it's hard for me to determine if the Dallas Cowboys took a step forward because, y'all, it's the Giants. Like, I mean, if it was anybody else, maybe I would have a different reaction. But as they say in the league, a win is a win. And they needed this one. They needed to get to 500 because it would have been, I don't know what would have happened in this city tomorrow if Dallas would have been 1-3 coming out of New York. It's a long season left. Unfortunately, I think we just watched two teams that aren't very good. We got an injury to Micah Parsons. We got to find out more about it, but seeing him on the court with no shoes on, that could be a blow. I'm hoping it's nothing long-term, nothing serious. Praying for his health, praying for all the dudes' health, really. But just wrapping up this game, I'm fresh off of it. I'm still processing, but what I took away from it is it's just not. It was two teams that are not very good. So yeah, that's the recap of the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. Brandon Aubrey, the kicker for Dallas, missed a field goal. That's a bad omen. He never misses. I know it sounds like I'm being Debbie Downer, but I can't find anything other than a win, an ugly win against a team that's not very good, y'all. So don't get mad at me. Talk about Swagu down. You don't want to celebrate that the Cowboys winning. This ain't celebratory to me. This ain't a situation where I'm excited or ecstatic about a win. But again, 500, first 4 games of the season. I guess you got to take it a week at a time. Get 10 days off. It was a Thursday night game. Get 10 days off. Rest and recover. Hopefully we find out some more information about Micah Parsons and his injury. Hopefully he can be back. We need all hands on deck. I did earlier go after my man Mozzie Smith, defensive tackle number 58 for the Dallas Cowboys. He played solid, had a solid game, made some plays in the backfield, didn't get knocked off the line of scrimmage. I just wanted to give him a shout out because I was real honest about it, about how he was looking. I don't know what to make of the Giants. The Giants need the Daniel Jones didn't play a terrible game, but it's also like Malik Neighbors is one of the young, exciting stars in the league. We know we got a lot to look forward to with him. LSU, by the way. The Giants right now feel like it's just an identity crisis. That's my take on the Giants. Like that, I think they just floating in no man's land, which is not a good sign for Dallas to have struggled against that team. But again, it's a dub. Now you got to go forward. The season gets harder. Dallas schedule damn show ramps up after this game. So they're gonna have to handle business. But that's my recap of Dallas. I'm talking about fresh off of it, y'all. It's 10:30 Central Time. I'm fresh off the game. I just had to come through and tell y'all what happened, how I was feeling. The bottom line is I do not feel good. My team won, but I do not feel good. What up, family? We back with something special. I'm actually super excited. I've been a fan of this dude for a long time. He's made me laugh like in real life. You know how some comedians they make you laugh, but it's like you feel like you should because they doing something on stage. This dude is really a like bend over laugh in real life and keep it going. I want to introduce my man Roy Wood Jr. to the show.
Man, I
Former
appreciate you,
host of the
brother.
Daily Show. I need to do the
Yeah,
plugs, Roy? Do I need to do
former correspondent.
former correspondent on the Daily Show and current host of Have I Got News for You on CNN?
Yes, sir.
Roy, let's get straight to it. Like we don't need. I got mad love for you, mad respect. The pleasantries will be done at the end, but I got so many questions for you because I've been a fan, man. One, what has your journey been like, and are you at that point? Because I deal with this a lot. Are you like I've done it? Like I'm here now. When was that arrival point for you?
Success is thinking that you hit a home run and then realizing you only hit a double. And then realizing that your career is just a series of doubles. There's maybe a home run here and there, but for the most part, you're just trying to be consistent and stay working, which is wild because when I got the Daily Show, that was 2015. And when Trevor Noah brought me on, I have a degree in broadcast, and at that point, about 14 years in stand-up comedy. So this is perfect. This is what I do. These are the two things. Then you leave the Daily Show and you realize, okay, that was a great run. That was 8 years. That was a good time. But what's next? Because this feeling that I made it, I'm impervious. No, my friend, this game can turn on you real fast. And so you have to stay consistent. You have to evolve. You have to adapt. One of the biggest, like when I look at other comedians and like comedians who I don't want to say jealous of, but oh damn, I want that for me. It was always Sinbad and John Witherspoon
Okay.
because the two times I opened for them, they had 3 generations of families in the audience. And the only way you achieve that is through longevity and
Yes.
consistency. So you got the granddaddy, the daddy, and the grandbaby all sitting there laughing and having a good ass time at someone. That's a testament to years and years in the industry. And, that to me, that's the testament of somebody who just consistently was just consistent. Had some
Consistency.
home runs in there, but a home run
Yeah.
is where you can retire and hit a lick and be done, and you ain't got to work no more if you don't want to.
Right.
Steve Harvey hit a home run, but even Steve
Yeah.
Harvey would say, "I still have things I want to get better at." There's still an internal desire to grow. So Daily Show I feel like was one thing, but now with CNN, that's an evolution, and so
Right.
now I'm hosting. And it's once a week. It's still in the political satire world, but it's a little lighter than what we was doing at the Daily Show because we just trying to get the jokes off about the current events. And
Yeah.
see, Daily Show, we trying to solve the problem
Solve the
and show
problem.
you the complexities. No, man, we firing off these damn jokes. So to be able to do that, and I've always given a lot of love to ESPN as a network because the year before I got Daily Show, I was getting shown so much love at the network, being able to come on and do various segments. This is early days of Jamel Hill and Michael Smith. They were
Michael
still
Smith.
doing
Yep.
his and hers.
Yep.
Sports Nation,
With
Kellerman,
Marcellus and
Beadle, and Marcella. Yes,
yep.
they put me on a regular. Bomani would slide me in there every now and
Hmm.
then when he could. And so that gave me the muscle. Like you didn't even realize you was in the gym preparing for something greater. So,
Like I hear you, and I think of it as that way too. Longevity and consistency. But you've had a lot of genres that you've been a part of in your career. But I always like hear comedians say, at the heart of everything, I'm a comedian. How would you define Roy Wood Jr. if somebody was to ask you for a resume?
Chris Rock said one time, everything I do is so that people will come see me live. So you can call him a director, you can call him a Broadway playwright. He didn't acted on Broadway. He's written films, he's done animated shows, all of that. But at the end of the day, the ultimate compliment somebody can pay you is leaving their house to see you in person. And to me, that's the one thing they can never take from you. So call me all those other things, but I will always call myself a comedian first.
Yeah.
Writing and producing, those things are all beautiful and I love them and I want to get better at them. To bring it back to Sinbad, I opened for him once. That time I opened for Sinbad was during a stretch where he hadn't been in a movie or a TV show in forever. I might say 10 years.
Wow.
This was mid-aughts. And Sinbad had a run from, the 80s all the way through the 90s where he was doing all of that. But he did all of that and built such a relationship with people. He ain't miss a meal.
Didn't miss a meal.
He ain't miss a meal. And then Rel, shout out to Lil Rel Howery, who had Sinbad play his pops on his Fox sitcom. I think by the time Sinbad was back on TV, there had been legitimate gaps of time in which he had appeared in anything in Hollywood for whatever reason. But my point is, he wasn't on camera and in movies on a regular basis like he was early on, and still had a relationship with people, still sold out. We're talking 3,000-4,000 seaters, bro. That's not easy to do. And so to me, if I'm looking at my body of work, it was all done in the spirit of making you laugh. And in a perfect world, I made you think somewhere in the middle of that laughter. If I could do that, mission accomplished.
Well, I always had this question, man, because there's obviously throughout your comedy, like if you've followed you and you realize not only the intelligence, but how serious certain things are that you're making light of to try to get people to think about it, even though you're trying to you're getting comedy to draw them in, but I've walked away from you doing things and saying, dang, that's something to think about for real. So how do you stay in that? You alluded to it. You do political commentary. You do political. To me, as a novice, you do political comedy. Do you know in the moment that you're causing such a serious conversation, but also at the same time making people laugh? Like, how is that dynamic?
I wouldn't say that I know. I'm just wanting to talk about the thing. Let's talk about it. And then if you do it right, I think at the Daily Show, the perfect stories, especially if it was something around race, the perfect stories were when a black person could watch it and go, that's what I've been trying to tell y'all. And a white person could go, wow, I didn't know that. I was unaware to that part of America even existing. So then that's taken the next day and people have spread the clips around with the assumption that, oh, you knew that you was going to strike a nerve. And no, I'm just trying to make a joke about the thing so that you can actually open your ears up to get a little deeper about it. That's what we were trying to do, at the Daily Show for the most part. But this idea of premeditated activism through humor, I think if any comedian is saying that they're doing that intentionally, yeah, I meant to do that. I knew that bit was going to do exactly what it did. I don't think you knew. You knew that was funny, but you don't get to control what touches people and what they actually take and run with, but that's why you just keep firing, because one of them is going to connect.
You know what, man? That's interesting, because I don't think like the person, like a person like myself sitting and watching, in our mind, it's like they knew that was going to be funny and they knew that was going to make them think. And I think that's almost the superpower of what you've been able to do for so many years. Because to us, looking, it's like, how when you had the family, you knew what you was doing. You knew what you was doing. To us, that's how it looks. But man, that is crazy that you say, like, how you just put that really taught me something about your authenticity. And I think people gravitate to it. Obviously, we know that comedians write and you have shows that you have to come on and be prepared for. But I think I gravitate to the people that I always look at and say, I think that's him, like, or her. Like, I think that's them. That's who they are. We on ESPN. I want to ask you a sports fan. I know you're a Dolphins fan. We're gonna get to that. But
Let's
in
not.
baseball,
Let's
you
not.
love
We ain't gotta
baseball as
get there.
well. For me, it's like, why? Other than players. Like, I know Shohei is 50-50,
It's
and I know all of
exciting.
these. But
Yeah, I'm a Cubs guy. Let's not get to that either.
yeah, Roy, me and you ain't seeing like baseball cool. Like my son played, but I couldn't wait for him to stop playing. That's how I was with baseball. Um, you look at
Yo.
the money and you like, hey man, keep playing. But then you get out there and you out there for 17 hours and 157 degrees and you like stop playing. Let's go play basketball. Um, do you have a World Series prediction this year?
Why
About
y'all?
who's
Why
gonna play in it and
y'all?
who's gonna win it?
Why y'all be acting like baseball is watching a punt contest?
Because it is.
It's exciting.
Until
It's
October.
beautiful. Give me Dodgers, Astros. I hope that the Yankees can beat the Astros and we get Dodgers Yankees.
Okay.
Now that's what the streets want. You
Now
want
what the
Judge
streets
and
want.
Otani every night, but man, them Astros, them man, them ain't no punks over there. Them boys
They
are
rolling.
scrappy,
They
and we
rolling.
far enough removed away from garbage cans. They ain't them and them. They ain't cheating. They hitting the ball. They hitting the ball.
My
They keep
dog
what was
Bregman
it?
over there from LSU. So
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
yeah, yeah. The Astros are good, bro. I really think we end up Dodgers Astros. If there's anybody that could sneak and pull a sneak move, I think it's the Padres.
Okay.
But the streets don't want that. The streets don't want Padres Astros.
Got you.
They don't
Got
want
you.
that.
The streets really want Dodgers Yankees.
The streets want Dodgers Yankees, but what they're gonna get is Dodgers Astros.
Astros. And who you got winning it?
That depend on Dodgers pitching, bro.
You're gonna have to
Nah,
hey.
Dodgers,
Okay.
Dodgers, because
Say
you
it with
got
your
Mookie,
chest.
Otani, and Freddie Freeman
Okay.
back
Okay.
to back to back. Every single
Yeah.
back to back to back, back to back. All three. Yeah, yeah. No, Dodgers in five.
It's hard for anybody to get through that. I got you.
Who you got? Can you even? How many baseball teams can you name?
Padres, Astros, my dogs here, the Rangers did their thing last year.
Yeah,
The
man.
Boston Red Sox, the Oakland A's. Are the A's still in
The
Oakland? Are they
Sacramento A's next year.
okay?
They done.
Next year,
They
right?
done.
Sacramento A. I
Yeah.
think the owner just came out and said we was trying to keep it here, but we couldn't.
Shut your ass
Um,
up. Don't nobody want to hear that this late in the game. He made a
Yankees,
statement on the way out the
Mets,
door.
uh, Colorado Rockies,
The A's owner
Toronto
so
Blue
slick with
Jays.
it. The
I'm with
Oakland
it.
A's owner so slick with it. It's like breaking up with your girl, boxing up all the furniture, and then as soon as you putting all the furniture in the U-Haul, you turn to your girl and listen, I really wish we could have
I
gone to
wish we could
therapy.
have worked out.
We could have if you'd have came and set your ass down and praying for them A's fans.
But is there a correlation between because you talked about the his and hers with Jamel and Mike and obviously Sports Nation when you were doing that sports part of it, is there a feeling of competition that comes that breeds in you that comes from the correlation of sports to what you do in comedy?
Yeah, I think so. Comedy is very competitive. Also, comedy is an individual sport. You have teams and people, but you definitely want to be the best. If you're on a show with multiple comedians, you want to be the funniest. So there's definitely a bravado there that is no different than, I would liken comedy to track and field,
Mm,
where it's solo, but you are all very close. There's not a lot of distance between the funniest brother on the show and somebody who wasn't that funny, unless you trip and fall out the blocks. And now that's the equivalent of getting booed. But I think where comedy and sports, the similarities that I found, especially with politics, is that comedy and politics is very similar. That's part of why the ESPN run really helped prepare me for Daily Show, because you are talking about a subject that people are very passionate about. They have their team who they love. There's nothing you can do to talk them off the square of that team. And it's your job to criticize that team as fairly as possible without infuriating the loyalists to that
mm,
team. And sports is harder than comedy because you also can't, not only can I not piss off a Cowboys fan, I can't piss off Jerry Jones.
Jerry
I
Jones.
can't piss off the sponsors, and I can't piss off the league. And low key, I can't piss off the network.
Yeah.
Now, what's the joke you can say that's going to avoid those 5 landmines? Figure that
Wow.
joke out, and you will do well. Or you will not be invited back. And I don't know if you noticed, since like them Sports Nation days, there ain't been a lot of comedians on ESPN no more. Y'all, the network was like, y'all keep stepping on landmines. Good day to you. Straight on that. So to me, that's kind of where the parallels lie. Now, if we're talking about the comedy game versus sports, it's 100% any solo sport you can name. Comedy is not a team sport. Making a television show is a team sport.
No doubt.
But me on stage by myself delivering my thoughts to strangers, that's no different than tennis, track and field, sumo wrestling, whatever you want to name. That's just you versus another audience member or comedian. To me, that's probably the biggest parallel.
I felt like when I got to ESPN, I was the first country dude that was on these platforms. Like,
That could be proper country. They didn't like try and clean you up or nothing like that.
Exactly. And I was like, that I've never seen that on television before. And it wasn't something that I was conscious of. It's just the way that I've talked all my life. And it's like even the emotion behind it, the antics behind it. I mean, we that's how we get. And everybody correlates it to the barbershop. But for me, my experience was a lot of times with my uncles at family gatherings and talking to them about sports or anything and not being able to be included. So I had to be loud in order to be heard. And those things correlate. So do you have, is it childhood experience? You talked about changing and not being in one location until high school. Is it childhood experiences that you draw from, not just for your comedy, but for everything that you get that you become a part of? Do you draw back on that? Obviously, knowing your father's history and family history and doing things like that, is it that you draw on to do these things that you're doing now and the success that you've had?
A little bit. My father, he was a radio journalist, and during his era, he was essentially the first black hire at most stations that he went to when he started. And for me, like, because I'm just now starting to talk about myself on stage a little bit more, but I can look back at my childhood and I'm kind of reinformed in a way when it comes to like, oh, that's what the race issue was. That's what like, I give you a perfect example. I had a white classmate, 6th grade, and we decide we're going to try and go over each other's house real quick and, catch up. Man, on a Saturday, we should play and whatever. I had my pops call his pops, and they did a swap where they met downtown and swapped it out. And I went and got in the white boy car and then went to the white boy house. And then when it's time to pick me up, my pops dropped me off back downtown again. And knowing what I know now about race and relations, it's like, oh, my pops wasn't finna go way out there to that side of town. He ain't rocking with that. And that white boy daddy was not going to bring him all the way to the hood and let his child play in the hood outdoors, knowing whatever stereotypes he had heard. Well, to be fair, we lived 3 doors down from a trap house. But still, it was a nice trap house. They was good gentlemen. And if we hit a home run into their backyard, they let us come get it. It wasn't that bad. But you can look back on stuff like that, and it reinforms just how close you were to race and everything, because growing up in Birmingham, I can't speak for other predominantly black cities, but Birmingham's black. Like it's 75% in Birmingham proper. I never had more than 3 or 4 white classmates, except for the one year I went to school on the east side, which is where middle-class white folks who couldn't afford white flight lived. Wow. They couldn't go to the suburbs, so they still lived in Birmingham proper. You go to predominantly black public schools. I went to black church. The boys club I went to was black. I had an all-black Little League team, and we only played other all-black Little League teams. My high school was predominantly black.
No doubt. Man, it's a correlation because growing up, I grew up in Baton Rouge, and North Baton Rouge by Southern University campus, Skylandville, all that area, predominantly black. So to your point, I relate to what you're saying tremendously. We were insulated. It was all of our people. So we was like, one, you hear people say this all the time. I ain't even know I was broke, but I realized it's because everybody else around me was broke. And we was all just having a good time communally. And then when I went to LSU, literally on the other side of town, I was like, damn, there's a whole side of Baton Rouge I never knew about.
Never knew. And there was no reason to ever go over there.
And it's crazy, dude, that you could be in that vicinity and not know how different it is going from one side to the other. And then, we can have 1,000 conversations, economic impact, what you learn and how you can bring it back, all of that type of stuff. Let me get to this question, bro. You are a Dolphins fan, and it's not going to be like specifically about Dolphins football because we all know what's going on right now. I apologize for that. What would your advice be to Tua, bro? What would you, if Tua said, Roy Wood, what should I do? How should I make a decision about continuing to play or coming back with his concussion history and knowing that these ramifications can take place in the longevity of your life? If you were giving him some advice, what would your conversation with Tua be like if he was to ask you that question?
My advice to any man would be to choose health, to choose your health. And you're going to not play football longer than you do play football. And I think the unfortunate reality of a lot of athletes, especially blue chippers from high school on, is that football infuses itself into your DNA and you have a serious identity crisis on the backside of it. And it's scary to have to ask yourself, well, who am I if not football? And a lot of athletes have never asked themselves that question. And it's a scary question to answer because a lot of times you haven't given any thought to that question at all, not never.
Right.
Now, I wouldn't retire. I would continue to do all the tests, and then I whisper in the doctor's ear, tell everybody I can't play no more because I got a headache so I can get all my money. Now, that's how you retire. Because everybody go, just quit. Way that contract set up, he got to say I can't play no more. Yes. And then I get the bread. So, I mean, we talking about a whole lot of money versus a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
And, I just think that, the cards, it's an unfortunate set of cards he's been dealt repeatedly, with injuries and such. But
yeah,
I would never tell anybody to, risk that. And then you have all this money and a shortened runway to enjoy it.
Yeah. Bro, I don't want to hold you, man. You are.
I appreciate you, bro.
First of all, man, you are an inspiration to young cats like myself, especially in this entertainment business, because I don't always look, Roy, to the ones that we see all the time and the big names. I look for the dudes that consistently do it at a very high level, but also do it their own way. And that's what I respect about you more than anything. You've not only stayed in your own lane, but you've been able to make that lane wide enough to do a bunch of different things, man. I know a lot of people have celebrated you on your journey, but man, I want to first thank you for coming on the Swagu Podcast and let you know, dude, brother, from afar, I'm consistently celebrating you. I'm watching you and learning from you. And I hope that you realize how many of us look to you and look to people that you've influenced as lights to direct us on a certain way. I appreciate you, bro.
Man, thank you, brother.